Okay.
What are you talking about?
All right. Welcome, everybody. For once, we're doing a movie that we did not have to like watch and research.
I mean, I watched it anyway.
This is like just a normal day of watching
Yeah,
television.
this is like TV for me. So
Right. This is like it's my background noise. It's my comfort movie that put me to sleep. Like it's
it
just
does. I can fall asleep to it all the time.
all around. Like I already know if I put this movie on, I'm gonna be asleep before Clarence even is in the crazy place. So I love that.
I always fall asleep during the dolls, and I know that's like blasphemous, but that's usually where I fall asleep if I'm really tired.
That's always like if you make it further than me because I don't even make it that far.
Girl, bye.
Like,
I got no, because that's the opening segment is like my favorite segment.
yeah,
So
yeah. Well, for all the people, hold on, let me grab my microphone. I forgot. I'm way over there. Okay, so for all the maybe Gen Z people who might not know or have heard, in 1995, there was a movie called Tales from the Hood that was written and directed. No, it was directed by Rusty Cundieff. I can't never.
Rusty is Cundieff, and
Cundieff.
I was working on that too. I was like, is
Woo!
it Cundieff?
Listen, I've been butchering that poor man's name
Since
for
the
years.
90s.
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, it was directed by him and then written by Darin Scott.
Yes, and
Which
produced by Spike Lee.
yes, and each movie in this series was so different, but all the original OGs had their hand in it.
Yes.
You know, it wasn't like it. I mean, they added on like different writers and stuff to do each story, but for the most part, Rusty and Darin were very hands on with it, which I love. So, I don't know much. I don't know too many facts about it. Let's see. It was
I've already got it pulled up. So the budget was 6 million, box office is 11.8 million.
okay. So that was good.
It's 98 minutes, produced by 40 Acres and a Mule, which is Spike Lee's company, and it is starring Corbin Burnson, who is he plays in the segment. Let me pull up the names because I have them saved. KKK comeuppance. So he plays that senator in the midpoint, but he's also the killer dentist in the movie The Dentist.
Yes, I love him in The Dentist.
Rusty Cundieff, David Allen Greer from A Living Color, of course. We've got Lamont Bentley, aka Hakeem from Moesha. Paula Jai Parker, Joe Torre, Clarence Williams III playing Mr. Sims. And then you've got, I always forget this dude's name, but I just know him as Junior from the Players Club. Ronnie's brother.
Samuel something.
Right. And then you've got DeAndre Bonds from The Wood.
Yes.
So those are our main players. But yeah, you know, this is my movie right here. This was one of like the probably the second movie that actually scared me as a child.
Yes. Like, and this movie has aged so well.
So well.
Like it's aged so well. The rewatch value on it is so high because you literally feel like you're watching it. Like you in it and you notice something new every time, or you just notice like that's the turning point of like
let's just call it what it is. It is the Black person's horror movie.
Basically.
If and not discriminating against white people. And I'm glad it's weird seeing like white people discover this now. Like I see so many like reviews on it now.
Yep.
But it's like there's just certain parts of this movie that as like a Black person you get and you don't have to have explained to you.
Exactly. Every single story.
I feel like the one story that doesn't. The movie is definitely very like, you know, it's a Black movie and it's very upfront about that from the opening scene. I feel like the only story that doesn't do that is the boys get bruised. Yeah, because anybody can experience that level of violence as a child. Yep. But other than that, it is a very racially charged movie. Like
yes, so many undertones in this movie.
Yes, so let's dive in.
Yes, so we are pulling up. Well, first thing, the opening scene for me, Lord Jesus, I love it. Like, I love it because it's a skeleton. He got to go to
with the gat.
with the gat, like, and the gat still got a little bit of smoke on it. So
yes,
like,
and he got the bandana.
yes, like very hood.
Love
I
it.
really wish I was old enough to have seen this movie in the theater live. Like, I bet it was live in the theaters at that time.
That was like when Black folks still talk back to the movies. So I would have loved to have seen that in the theater.
OMG. Like, we would have been having a good time. Yes. So we pull up, we see this car, car pull up, and we see 3 gangsters. Well, I ain't even gonna say gangsters, but we see 3 bangers. They are clearly bangers.
So and this is Stack, Ball, and Bulldog.
Yes. And from jump, they really was apprehensive about going to get the shit at a funeral home.
Like, we pull up to a funeral home, you telling me there's stuff inside there that we need. I'm gonna be apprehensive too.
Yeah.
And they already chiefing.
Already. So it's like, okay, the one guy, Joe Torre, his character is like, man, I don't know about this, man. I don't know. And they like, if some shit pop on you that's dead, you kill it.
He's like, how you gonna kill something that's already dead? This is one of my favorite lines of the movie, is because this movie is why I love DeAndre Bonds.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's gone off the deep end in recent years and he done been through some shit, but that shit, like, when this nigga was smoking and he was like, that's like refrying some beans. How you gonna refry some beans? Just fry them shits right the first time.
Right. Oh my gosh. He wasn't lying though, but it's like, nah, bro, that's not how it works.
Yeah, like, I mean, how do you kill something that's already dead?
Exactly. But they proceed. The leader of the gang, they never said what they individual names was. So
right.
I'm assuming Samuel Monroe, that's his name.
He's the leader from the Players Club.
Junior from the Players Club. He is like, we is here to get the shit. Gonna get in, get out. That's it.
I love how it's called the shit like the whole movie, because they don't ever want to say what it is.
They never do. It's like the shit, just the shit. And boom.
Yes, when that fucking shade pops up, and Clarence Williams III, mind you, is a very accomplished actor. One of my favorite movies is Sugar Hill, where he plays the dad.
Yes.
And he's so amazingly charismatic and creepy. Mm-hmm. He's like a real life embodiment of a Black crypt keeper in this movie.
Yes. I mean, he played it to a
crazy hair.
Yes.
He's already sweaty.
Yes. Woo, that man, he deserves some awards for that role. And that's probably going to be one of his many known roles. He's had a lot of different roles, but that one is probably, if you stick out and you be like the old dude from Tales from the Hood.
Like, my top 3 Clarence Williams is going to be Tales from the Hood, right? Yep. And then it's Samson from Half Baked.
Half Baked, yep.
And then Sugar Hill.
Yep.
Because Samson was great too.
He was. Oh my gosh, he was great in Half Baked. Oh, just so great. So yeah,
he's there to get the shit.
Yep, he scared him. Bulldog, Stack, I don't know which one of them, but he
runs into the pole.
He runs right into the pole. He tried to get out of there. That should have been a sign right there for they ass to like, nah, don't do it. But
yeah, we're done.
They try to get the shit, so they don't care. They walking through the mortuary, looking at shit, and somehow, some way, that's how Clarence Williams III. He's during this, he's very captivating to get to reel them in to tell these stories. And as he's walking through, they walk past a casket, and there is a man laying in there. And we see it's Clarence.
His name is Clarence.
So we see Clarence. That's the first, this movie, just every twist and turn was scary. Because
so the opening, whole thing. The rap. This is also an anthology. Don't know if we said that. This is an anthology.
Yes.
And the wraparound with the funeral home is called "Welcome to My Mortuary."
Mm-hmm.
We get into Clarence, and that one is Road Cop Revelation.
Mm-hmm.
So
this was a lot. This was hard to digest.
This is the one that scares me the most.
Yes. It scares me because like you and I are old enough to remember Rodney King.
Absolutely. And the Watts riots. Absolutely. We were little, but yeah, it's something that our parents ingrained in us.
Like we watched it over and over. Like we watched the riots over and over and over again. As little kids, you don't know what the hell is going on. But to see what our minds would compare these cops beating this man up.
So
hard.
The Rodney King beating incident is something that happened in the 90s. Rodney King was a professional football player. And he stopped playing football. He got pulled over, driving while black. He got completely beat on camera by 5 officers, and they all walked. This is literally the 90s equivalent to George Floyd for people who weren't around at that time. So we've lived through this multiple times.
Yep.
But I feel like if there was ever a movie that poetically portrayed it in its realism and its rawness, to make you really not only question yourself as a black person, but question yourself in a position of power as a police officer, because Clarence is a police officer who is black.
Yep. And watching it on back then, you didn't really understand what we know now as like Blue Lives Matter, all that shit. They really feel like that's a gang.
This segment has so many layers to unpack. So let's just go for it. So
Clarence, his first night on the job.
He's a rookie. His partner is a white man. They pull up to assist with backup. There are 2 other white officers, and they are harassing a black man who you find out is running for state senator. And he has been his name's Morehouse, and he has been putting dirty cops off the force. They start harassing him. They tell Clarence to go back and run his place after they break his tail light. And while they're running the tail lights, they're questioning him about what he's doing to officers on the police force. And he says, I have nothing against good cops, but I'll make sure trash like you gets thrown off the force. And they throw his head into a window. They savagely beat this man, all 3 of these officers, while this black rookie cop is in the car running his plates. When the plates come back, and it says on the screen, political agitator. So that in itself means that in the system,
they know. Yeah, they know. Like they gonna fuck with him.
Right. Absolutely. So he goes to stop them.
Yep.
And they push him back and tell him that's not his place. But they promise they're going to take him to a hospital. He gets in the car with his partner, and his partner's chastising him as if like, well, we're cops, and these assholes have our back that you say, and they're cops too, and this is our job, and this guy's trying to ruin that.
Yep.
And they take this man. They put cocaine in his car. They put him in the front seat. They shoot him up with heroin to not only kill him, but disparage his reputation upon death. And they send him off the dock into a river.
Yep. And the one cop said, "You right. You was right about something. We are dealing drugs in your neighborhood."
Yep. Absolutely. So, a year goes by, and Clarence is now an alcoholic. Yep. You see his room is covered in newspaper clippings about what happened. He's hearing the voice of Morehouse, and he goes to a mural, which of course in black neighborhoods is what we do when we lose someone that was important in our neighborhood. We graffiti them on a wall. And he goes to the mural, and he sees Morehouse crucified on a cross, saying to bring them to me. And Clarence says that he will. So he calls them to Morehouse's grave drunk. And he lets them know that it's been a year since they killed an innocent man. The ringleader decides that he's going to piss on Morehouse's grave. And he does. Pisses all over it. And his partner goes, well, that's cool. So he makes him piss on the grave.
You do too.
While this other guy is getting forced to go pee on this grave, they're standing behind Clarence ready to execute him. Because they know that he's going to talk. And right when they're about to execute him, Morehouse's hand comes up out of the grave, grabs the cop down, and the grave explodes. the casket comes up and the cop is in the casket with its heart missing, and Morehouse is standing there holding the heart. One of the creepiest, most sweeping up shots.
Great. It was great. Cinematography on this part was so good.
I love the fact that this, like, the special effects team was so great. And Screaming Mad George, who is a huge special effects person, especially in the 80s and 90s, he did things like Society, which is very special effects heavy. He did Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Roach Girl. He did her. So the special effects were really good, and probably one of the creepiest zombifications I've seen on film.
Yeah.
Especially a low budget horror film, because this is technically considered low budget, right?
Yes.
So
yes, and it's the mid 90s,
right?
They were doing things that Black people have not done before.
So they try to shoot Morehouse, and he's dead.
Yeah.
So this is gonna come on out, y'all, because it's not working. So they take off running. They drop their guns, take off running. They get in the car, and he's just like walking behind them, Jason Voorhees style.
Yep.
They turn back around, and he's on the hood. Now that's the part that always scares me, and still escalates.
When
that face is like,
oh my gosh, it's so creepy. It's so
the eyes
creepy.
are like icy blue white.
Great jump scare, by the way. Great jump scare. Like, you was not planning to see that happen.
So they're swerving, and then he teleports in front of them.
Yep.
And they crash the car. When they crash the car, he's nowhere to be seen, and he's on the roof, and he pulls the cop that pissed on his grave out of the hood and bites his head off.
Yeah.
Oh. Right.
Ooh, I wish we could have saw that though.
I wish there was more blood squirting.
Yes. Oh my god.
But he pulls his head off, and the cop that was the rookie's partner is ran out of the car, and he's standing on top of the car holding the head. And he shoots the car, and the car blows up, and you see the body on fire. So you think, okay, he's good.
Yep.
This man turns around, and he's standing right behind him.
Yep. Oh, he never got away. Like, he was on their ass the whole time.
And he like pulls his chest, and it's like this like vial of green shit pumping, which is hilarious. And he tries to run away, and he's right in front of the mural of Morehouse that Clarence was at earlier.
Yep.
So he's trying to run away, and Morehouse telepathically gets all these hypodermic needles to come off the ground and like shoots him up, and he gets stuck to the crucifix on the mural, and he sends one down his throat, and he like melts into the graffiti, which is a great special effect.
Yeah.
It still holds up. It's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
And he gets turned into a mural.
Yep.
And Clarence shows up, and he's like, I brought them to you, brother. And he's like, you're not my brother.
Yeah.
You let them do this to me.
Yeah.
So in the end, Clarence gets set up for all the murders, and Clarence is now in a padded room talking to himself, and he is brandished a cop killer.
Yep.
And I love the complexity of, just because you didn't do it doesn't mean you weren't complicit.
Yep. Absolutely. He like when Morehouse said, "Where were you when I needed you?"
Yeah.
He was right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, there, that's where I don't feel like a lot of people know how Black cops, they have to, like, this is why a lot of people say all cops are bad, because even sometimes the bad cops, they don't do enough.
It's such a split situation. Like, my mother-in-law is an ex-cop, right? And one of the most stand-up people I know. But there are cops, especially Black ones, that just go along with the thin blue line, because it is in some respect a gang. And I know that this may lose some people, and if my opinions offend you, I apologize, but I'm a human. This is my experience. I'm from a small town in Ohio.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? I've seen a lot of things. I have 2 brothers and a dad. I've seen a lot in my 34 years. And the idea that cops originally are slave catchers.
Yeah.
That no one ever wants to talk about the origins of the police force. That star that is on that badge used to say slave catcher.
Exactly.
So that's why do I hate all cops? No, I've been treated very nicely by some police officers.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't hate all cops, but I'm aware enough to know that there are cops, Black and white, of all races, that don't have your best interest at heart.
Nope. And when you go against one of their own, then
It's
you
hell.
are singled out.
Yeah.
And like it's a gang.
You can literally get shot on the job because you spoke out about something. I mean,
Yes.
how many cops have we seen on camera of recent years get choked on camera by their superior officer for stopping someone from getting hurt? I think about that young lady that got choked by her chief because she stopped him from beating a man in the back of a car.
Yeah. Crazy.
Do you know what I mean?
Crazy.
Like
it's wild.
Until there's enough, until the majority speaks out, it's always going to be like that. And I feel like this segment alone is why Tales is so profound and was ahead of its time and considered a cult classic now, because it speaks to something that we're still experiencing today.
To this day. And that Clarence going crazy, Clarence quitting the force, becoming a shell of himself. He was a shell of a man. And then being blamed for those cops' murders just proves you have to do more. Like more has to be done, because the whole system is rotten to its core. So the few good cops that we have that are Black, that's not going to be enough. The whole system itself is rotten. So
I mean, but I will attest to the fact that I appreciate that now with social media, there are more cops coming forward and telling their stories and losing their jobs and their pensions, but standing up for what's right. So I can't take away from those people either.
Yep. A lot of people don't talk about that, about the people who actually they risk their lives, they risk their jobs, their pensions to speak out about a system that is just not right. Yeah. So they were, that story in itself was so ahead of its time, and it's so weird that we're still seeing it play out.
I mean, I told Courtney this evening, because I call him all the time if he's like 10 minutes late. I know it's crazy, but I was like, I suffer from Black wife syndrome. Yeah, like it's a thing. Like if you don't come home, I was like, there's a lot of time between there and here, and I'm thinking if something happens, you get pulled over. Like these are the things that I have to worry about. I have a teenage Black son and a preteen Black son. These are things that I have to worry about if they're going to be okay. Right. And I feel like this is the one segment, even though the movie's enjoyable. Yeah, this is the most shocking, scary, and realistic. Yes. I feel like the rest of them you can have fun with, but this is the one that I never can have fun with.
Yeah. And I mean, even, we as viewers, we want to see retribution, and we see it, we get it, but it still doesn't take away the fact that they ruined this man's reputation. He was right. He was onto something. They got away with it. Still was working on the force. So them losing their lives still wasn't enough.
Yeah, a Black man died and another Black man took the fall. It is quite sad. And I love Rusty Cundieff and Darin Scott when I was watching, because I watched a couple of interviews today. Yeah. And they were saying that they wanted to cover the spectrum of all types of people on the police force. He said that just as many heroes, there are just as many cowards. And they said they set it up to where the man that initially hit him was the ringleader. And then the guy with the mustache who got pulled into the grave was your follower. And then Clarence's partner was a person that always justifies horrific actions.
Of course. Yep.
Which I always, I mean, in my mind, I go to those people that are like, well, what did he do? It doesn't matter what somebody did. They don't need to die in the street like a dog.
Nobody should decide that. Nobody. You know what I'm saying?
I don't care what color you are, what age you are, who you are. Yeah. No one should lose their life, because our country is built on guns. Proven innocent until proven guilty. Yeah. And the fact that there are people out there that walk around being judge, jury, and executioner, I'll never be okay with that.
Never.
But for the ones out there that are good, that are upholding their badge, that do protect and serve, that do risk their lives, we thank you, because we know that it's a very hard job to do.
Yes. I couldn't imagine. That is a job I probably would not be able to do.
No, I can. I give my mother-in-law all the respect in the world, especially, and she was the first Black female police officer in Mansfield.
Damn. So I know she heard a lot of shit.
And she went through a lot of shit.
She saw a lot of shit. And that can't be easy.
No, I will never completely shit on cops in general, but I will always point to the ones that are full of shit. Yeah. And that's just how I'm rocking. Like I said, if it offends you, then I'm sorry. But that's just that's how layered that first segment is. Now the rest of the movie, we're gonna have a good time with. But that we had to get that one out the way. because it's too deep. And the,
Yep.
and the fact that they played Billie Holiday's "Strange Fruit" makes
That-
it so much more crushing.
Oh yes, that hurt. And
I
even as
promise
a
you,
kid, I
I
didn't know
promise
what that word what that song meant, but I knew it was something.
Oh, you know, my dad's was a Muslim, so I knew all about that. But yeah, like and like I just remember that TikTok craze like a year and a half ago when they were using that remix of "Strange Fruit," and I'm like, you niggas don't even know.
Don't even know. Like that's yeah. Yeah.
But we go on to our next part of the wraparound, and Sims is talking, and they're still talking about the shit, and they're like, "Yo, where is it coming from? Where is it at?" And he's like, "We gonna get to that, baby."
Yep.
You know
And
what I mean?
then we walking on to another casket,
and it is like a Muppet on steroids.
Yeah,
it's just all like bunched. It's like a Stretch Armstrong got burnt. That's the best way I can explain it.
Yeah, and the fact that they didn't show it right away was like, well, damn, what the hell is in this casket? Like,
I'm trying to understand why they bought such a big ass casket. Like, it was always like, why is the casket so big for something so small?
Right. Like, what the hell is going on? So yeah, that brings us to the segue of
boys do get bruised. So I'm gonna let you take this one. It's one of my favorite segments. Probably one of the best things David Alan Grier has ever done outside of Broadway. But I'm gonna let you take this one.
Okay, so yeah, boys do get bruised. We are with Walter Johnson. He is such, he's such a quiet young man who I ain't gonna lie. Him transferring to a new school, being a new kid at a new school was terrifying to me as a kid watching this. It was like literally like, oh my gosh, how did he ever do this? Because I would have like freaked out. Like, I don't want to know.
I went to a lot of new schools and it sucks.
It sucks, So he is, little Walter Johnson. He comes to school very first day.
But personal note before you go on. Please know this is the little boy from Space Jam and Soul Food.
Yes, Brandon Hammond.
How sweet this boy is. Okay.
Man, when I say I'm pretty sure we all had the biggest crush
in Soul Food
on little Brandon Hammond. Oh, that was bang. He was bang.
Started the chocolate craze of the 90s.
Yes.
And Jason Weaver is why I need a chocolate man in my life.
Yes. So yeah, I gotta say he did a fabulous job acting.
Yes,
as this little boy. So he shows up to the school first day. He gets a very cold opening. Nobody's really, noticing him. They're not really trying to be welcoming. But his teacher, which is played by Rusty.
Yes, our director.
I love, side note, I love when directors make a cameo in their movies. I love it. Like, I'm looking for like, that's it. So he's the teacher. And I want to call him Montel so bad. Different movie.
Right. And it's funny because Rusty in his own right is such an accomplished actor. Like the fact that he was in School Days.
Yes.
Like he was on a couple episodes of A Different World. Like he's in a lot of shit. And he was like a stand-up comedian.
Yes.
I didn't know until I was researching.
Yes. I didn't know that either. And I was like, what?
Right. But it makes sense. They say like people with great sense of humor can make the most morbid material. So
yes, I can believe that. So yeah. He plays Walter's teacher, Mr. Garvey, and he notices the bruises.
Yes, because he got jumped by that big head block boy.
Right.
Tyrone. He gets his ass beat by Tyrone on the first day.
I know. And that was like, why y'all do that boy like that? Hey, he didn't bother nobody. He was just there. And it's like, oh yeah, bullies. Them bullies, they pick on, that's what they do. They pick on the littlest, quietest one. So he get beat up, gets into the nurse. Teacher's looking like, okay, what's going on? Are you okay? The nurse says, these ones is old.
But can we talk about how the nurse is Raven Baxter's mom?
Yep. And the lady I know her as the lady from from In Living Color. I was like, that's the one lady.
Too. I did too.
That's the
And
one
when I
lady.
watched it like maybe a month ago, I was like, wait a minute, is that
Mhm.
Raven's mama?
Yep, that sure is. That sure is. That's Raven's
She's
mama.
like, she's always had dreads.
Listen, she's another accomplished actress as well.
Very.
It's like she has so many different like just supporting roles, not even main roles, but just she's going to be like, especially in the 90s.
Yes.
She was in a lot of different things.
Yes.
So yeah, she you know, she's like, I don't know, like these bruises a little old. So
yes, he has a huge black eye.
Yes, which is like, oh, like how heartless can you be to beat on a child for one, and then send them to school knowing you see like this is like his little eye was all messed up.
Girl,
so,
you know, you preaching to the choir over here. So
yeah, so it's like, oh my gosh. So we see that not only is little Walter being bullied at school, he is also being bullied at home.
yes.
And there is a monster.
By the monster.
Ooh, scary to me. I was just a scary young child, but I liked to be scared. Like I liked to go into being scared.
Everything.
You know, so it's like every kid is scared of like monsters under the bed. And the fact that you see this boom, 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 and turning the knob and turning the knob
and the little claws and the green hand.
Yes. So scary. So we know it is some
dark,
type
like just crying.
Yes, like like so just it was heartbreaking. It was heartbreaking. So yeah, a few days later, Walter now has a bruised arm. And you know, is still raising some flags with his teacher. And the best part of the story to me, the best part of the story for me was when that like he's in there drawing, you know what I'm saying? He like, you don't want to go outside. Yeah, like he want to go outside. He like, I'm trying to avoid that shit. So he didn't want to go outside. He in there drawing, and he notices, and you know, his teacher notices like, oh, what you drawing? He's like, the monster. And he said, somebody say you draw what you're scared of, and then you destroy it, and it's supposed to take care of the monster. And the teacher's like, well, what's that a picture of? That's Tyrone.
That's Tyrone.
Yep, that's Tyrone. So in that instant, he balls up the paper, and we hear,
oh my God. I promise
Tyrone.
The best line of the movie when that janitor, the other teacher, and he was like,
how do you break both legs and arms falling down?
And he's like,
boy, must have weak bones. Best part. I say that every.
He reminds me of, what is it, Mr. Johnson from Abbott?
Yes.
Boy must have weak bones.
Boy must have weak bones. I don't understand. It's like he just collapsed.
And Rusty is sitting there like, Darby's like, huh?
Yep.
It's kind of interesting.
Yep. And that prompts him to make a visit. And I'm so glad. You know, we need more teachers like that. We need
can we talk about how it's a black male teacher? My brother is a black male teacher. Black male teachers stand up. There are not enough of you.
Yeah.
You know the hours are long and the pay is shitty.
I'm pretty sure all of us can count on one hand how many black teachers we've had from kindergarten to senior year.
Guess what? I've only had one, and you were in class with me.
Yeah.
At Litchfield.
Yeah. And that was it.
That was it. She had that purple hair.
Yes. The whole time at Litchfield had like one black teacher. Yeah. Yep. So I want to say, you know, in order to be a male teacher, you have to have some sort of like intuition, like a woman.
Yes.
You know, you have to be a caring person, and he follows his intuition.
Yeah.
So he's not right. You know, he did his due diligence by going to these people's house after school hours. You know, after school hours, he pulls up to the house, and we finally see Walter's mother, because nobody's asking about his mother. We know it's a monster in his house, but we see his mother, and she is like it's Paula J. Parker, by the way, the one, the only Paula J. Parker. She's sissy, and you know, she's very like, he won't do it again. You better stop doing that, boy. Like she's very.
That's not. See, we ain't about to skip over Sissy because Sissy to me was the villain of the damn segment.
You got a point there.
Okay, let's. I've been a single mother. Let's keep it all the way 100 with each other. First of all, you open the door to somebody you don't know half naked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was questionable.
You super flirty with this stranger in your house.
Yeah.
Doing the absolute most in a bad wig.
Yeah, the wig
making us look bad. Okay.
Yeah.
And that CNA wig.
And
on top of that, when this man is telling you what's going on with your son and all the bruises on him, you start cussing out the son because you
start blaming him. Yep. I told you stop. It's like, damn, like Walter literally ain't did nothing whole time.
The boy didn't barely have 5 lines in the whole thing. He's so damn quiet.
Yes. Like he's so like, oh, it was just so heartbreaking. And the monster shows up.
Well, we don't know he's the monster yet, but her man comes home. Yeah. And we know it's a problem because she's like, shh.
Yes. Every her whole demeanor changed.
She was all Walter, smiling and like wiping the bird duty off his jacket and getting all close to him. As soon as the car pulled up,
everything changed. Yep. And then we see Yep. And then we see that, we don't know that her man, his name was Carl, right? We don't know that Carl is the monster. Yes. So we see that when we see him as the monster, that is through Walter's
perspective.
His perspective. So, like you said, we see her whole demeanor change. He then showed up and he's already defensive as, a typical abusive spouse would be. Yep. He's very dismissive. He's very what is going on? He's looking at her like,
why is this man in my house?
Why is this man in my house? Like he's already going to beat her ass. Like it's clear. Like he's gonna beat her ass. So she, gets teacher out the house. He's walking away. Mr. Garvey, like I said, he did his very due diligence because this is how the man wasn't shit. This is how Carl wasn't shit. He couldn't even wait for that man to get to his car, pull off, get down the street before he proceeds to beating Sissy's ass.
Well, the way he was talking to him in the kitchen when they were having something to drink. And he's like, he's fixated on this monster.
Yep, that drawing.
Showed him the picture.
Yep.
And he was like, I will have a talk with him. And he's like, well, I don't see how that's going to help. And he's like, I said I will have a talk with him. Sissy, can you show him out? Like it was quick.
Yes. Tension. It was so the tension. Ooh, it was rough.
Literally, he's walking to the car and he looks up and he sees the monster in the window.
Yep. So he as soon as Sissy closed the door to walk him out, she turns around, boom, punched dead in her shit. Which I am that's hard. That kind of domestic abuse really bothers me. It bothered me as a kid. It bothers me as an adult. It's hard to watch because there are so many men who will just close fists dot.
Well, I mean, face. Imagine living it because I was Walter. So I mean, that was my dad. So I know this all too well,
man.
And from my perspective as a child and an adult, that's why I say I'm looking at Sissy because who's supposed to protect the child?
Exactly. She definitely had an obligation to protect her child. It's clearly her child. That's not his dad.
No,
it's not his dad.
And I'm not saying domestic violence victims are at fault. Not at all.
Yeah,
not at all. But as a mother myself, I'd die getting beat viciously if it was going to stop the blows from my kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But I feel for Sissy because I know she just couldn't get out the situation.
Yeah.
But I just hate the fact that it was at Walter's expense. Like, I empathize solely with the defenseless child, because I was that defenseless child. This segment always triggers me. That's why I said you go ahead and have it. It always it puts me in a space of where I was as a kid with my own father. And I promise you, being that kid and going to school having to wear turtlenecks every day, it's a horrific experience.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Sissy get clocked right in the face, and Walter, you know, oh, the boy, the boy is just.
But do you peep the scary shadow when he walks in his room though, and the shadow is actually the monster?
Yes,
because when he rolls up his sleeve and it says "monster" across his arm, that's some scary shit, and his voice changes.
Man, that's some scary shit.
The mind fuck that this is David Alan Grier doing this.
I know, right? I don't think like this was the guy that I knew from In Living Color. I'm like, that's In Living Color guy. Men on film. You know, he definitely had a totally different range in this for this role. And luckily, Mr. Garvey gets his ass back to that house.
Yes.
Back up in the house. And they in the kitchen. I feel like this scene in the kitchen was
when that blood's coming out of her nose.
Yes.
And and he and they start he starts fighting this man.
Basically getting it in. Okay, so
and getting his ass whooped.
Getting his ass handed to him. The only thing that starts to save him in this fight sequence, because he had Sissy on the ropes. Mr. Garvey was on the ropes. The only thing that helped was that drawing that Walter.
When he takes that belt off.
Yes.
And you hear her just screaming.
Yeah. Oh.
This is like aside from Enough, this is probably one of the worst depictions of domestic violence that I've seen on because I can't watch stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like I'll never watch The Invisible Man for that reason. I hear it's a fabulous movie. I'll never watch it because that's a boundary for me is domestic violence. But this is probably one of the most horrific things of domestic violence I've seen, especially like in the black community between this and what is it? Medea's Family Reunion or whatever.
Yeah, that's another rough one.
Yeah, like I can't do those, but this and Enough is like. But that belt, when that belt comes out,
man,
and you hear her that blood curling screams.
Yes, yeah. So, fights going on. Mr. Garvey and Carl Day is going at it. Walter gets the draw
because he has a cast iron skillet and he's gonna hit them with it.
Yes, like a cast iron skillet is going. He was ready to kill them. He was ready to like. I feel like if we got any type of backstory, I've made up a backstory for these people. So I feel like I've made up a whole backstory for these people. So I feel like Carl had been beating Sissy and Walter's ass for a good hot minute, and this was gonna be the one that he was gonna kill them.
Which is probably
he was gonna kill them Walter and kill himself.
Probably why Walter went to so many schools.
Yeah. Yes. See, it's all starting to make sense.
Yep.
So yeah, Walter pulls out his drawing of the monster, and soon as he got the iron cast skillet cocked back, Walter folds the paper. And I mean, this was great.
This is when it gets a little comical. Yeah, this is when it gets a little comical.
Yes. It absolutely
for such a tense scene, it just gets like straight to the comedy.
Yes. So boom, he folds the arm back. His arm goes back. And Walter is
like a bendy straw.
Yes. And then Walter sees what he's doing and he gets like empowered, like, yes. So he starts twisting shit up. And it's David Alan Grier, so he is lit. Like he starts to be funny right there. So because he should have been dead, like he should have died. Because when he starts twisting him,
he folds the leg and then he starts like twisting around.
Yeah, so then he's curled up in a ball. Like this man is in a ball on the floor,
it's
like
a pile of clothes,
just
with his head sticking out like
this.
Yep.
Oh my gosh! Finally, Sissy gets her strength. She gets her strength, she gets her ass up, and she
Mhm.
steps on the paper, not
And
on him.
you see the blood come out his mouth.
Yes, yes. So I'm like, oh my gosh. And Mr. Garvey, he's got his strength up too. I feel like they're just looking like, what are we seeing? Exactly what we seeing?
How do you wrap your mind around that?
Exactly. And the final step to getting the monster is burning it to
But
a crisp.
he's on the floor in a ball, y'all, like crumpled up like a water paper, and
Yes.
he's like, "This ain't over, bitch." It's like, "No, it's over." Like, you clearly,
It's
it's
over, sir. Like, is he supernatural at this point? Because like he's lit like it's just like a bendy, like you said, like a bendy straw. It just got bent the hell up. He gets burnt.
It literally looks like chewed bubblegum in a pile of clothes.
Literally. And the fact that somebody decided to take that corpse, that mangled ass corpse, and put it in a casket.
You know what? Like, Mr. Garvey turns the stove over, and he's like, "You know what to do," and they burn, and they watch him burn.
Yep.
And you fade back to the casket, and my thought is always, why is the casket so big? And who paid to bury him?
Who?
Those are always
that nigga would have got buried in the backyard. You feel me?
like, how would you explain that to a coroner? Because that means a coroner had to come, pick up the body,
Yep.
they had to do an autopsy, and then turn him over to a funeral home. How did that's the story I want. How did that happen?
Exactly. Like, he didn't have no clothes. It was just a burnt, mangled corpse. That's it. Like, it was wild. Like, just wild. That was a wild time. But we see back, once we see back in the funeral home, they looking at this shit like, the fuck? And that makes one of the dolls fall. Boom. Segue right in. Like, the segues into the different stories was amazing, because that was such a good segue. They looking like, the fuck? Boom. The little doll balls.
This segment, I hate, because my dad, being the fake woke Dr. Umar that he was, loved to keep racially like, we had like mammy cookie jars, we had dolls like this, we had pickaninnies in the house, just to always remind me that I was a nigga, and just because I was light skinned didn't mean nothing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I grew up with all of these images in my house daily. So I hate these dolls.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, well, I'll let you take it away.
Ooh, okay. So this is KKK comeuppance. Now, when I tell you this, this is the segment that gives me the most glee.
Yes.
Right?
Well, it's like, I was happy.
I hate these dolls.
Yeah.
So his name is Duke Metger, and he is like, he's like in the Klan. This is what it is. He's a senator.
He is a descendant. He has to be a descendant.
He's a senator. He's running for his campaign to get reelected, and he in the southern states, of course. He's got his white suit on, which is why I hate when I see, I'm telling you right now, when I see a white dude in a white suit like that with suspenders, I know what it is. It's the main reason why I don't fuck with Jack Harlow. When I saw that nigga at the Kentucky Derby in that white suit, I was like, we're done here. So
yeah, we already know what time it is with him.
So he set up his office headquarters in a very well-known plantation.
Like, wasn't even trying to hide it.
No.
Wasn't even trying to hide it. Was proud of it. Okay.
So if any young people need to understand, he's very Trump-ish.
Mm-hmm.
He's trying to make America great again, if you get my drift.
Yep.
So it's there, but it's not there. Right? Like, you know what it is, but he's like hiding behind good words and a good PR team. Okay, that's Duke. So there are Jewish people and Black people picking outside the plantation. And there's like the old Black guy that's like, the dolls aren't going to let him rest in that house. He needs to leave. Because the spirits aren't going to let him rest. But why they have him dressed like a slave?
I love that Black man.
Why do they have him dressed like a slave?
I know, right? Like, come on. They got this man still dressed like he is a field nigga in 1918.
It's the hat.
Like the straw hat and shit. Like, bro.
Straw hat with the little stogie with the like, okay. But yeah, he's like, they're not gonna let him, rest or whatever. And what kills me,
what about the souls?
the souls, yeah. And it kills me that his image campaign manager is a black guy.
Yep.
Right. So here we are being complicit again for some money. I always love him because he's the guy and Do the Right Thing with the little radio.
Yeah.
Right. And he's also the gay hairstylist from Poetic Justice.
Yes. I love him. He has quite a long resume too.
Yes, Lord.
Roger, I think it's like Roger Guinevere or some shit like that.
Oh my God. But yes,
he has a long.
He is trying to help Duke like clean up his image, and Duke is saying all of this racist shit. And he's like, if they spent more time looking for a job, we could get rid of welfare. Right.
And I mean, this man, his
campaign manager,
his campaign manager really just, he like,
when he makes the jokes about the spooks, I'm like, do you know that you're black?
Yeah.
And it's very like, oh, well, you're not one of them, Rhodey.
Yeah, you're one of the good ones.
Yeah. Oh God, like if they would have had him like pat him on the head, it would have put the icing on the cake for me.
Yes.
But they're like, going over like, his PR stuff, and he gives Duke the camera so he can film him and how he should speak and carry himself. And he trips on something and he falls down the stairs and breaks his neck. He just like seems to just fall out the blue, like over his own feet. Just falls and breaks his own neck.
He was like, whoa. Yeah. Like, it was kind of funny. He fell in slow motion.
Duke is filming him.
Yep.
So Duke goes to the funeral, and the reporters are asking him, like, well, do you think it's the curse of the house? And he's like, they're like, you're going to get spooked. And he's like, he's about to make a joke about spooks, which if you don't know, that is definitely racial slang for black people back in the day. So call them spooks.
Yep.
So he's an ex, quote unquote, ex Klan member, ex Grand Wizard, whatever.
Yep.
So he's like, the only spooks that scare me are you spooky reporters. Like he cleans it up like real good.
He cleaned it up. He was good. He was good with that.
And he gets in his limo, and that doll is there.
Yeah.
And he sees it and he tosses it out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Fast forward to that evening, he's drinking, he's in his office, and he's watching that tape of Rhodey.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks and he zooms in, and that same doll that was in his limo was beneath Rhodey's feet when he fell.
Yep. Pushed him on down the stairs.
Right. Tripped right over him.
I mean, good. One thing I can say about these dolls, they were very efficient. These like the souls, the doll, they were very efficient with getting to the point of
getting it done. So he looks over because there's this big mural of the one of the slaves that died in the house, the old lady in a rocking chair, and she made all these dolls for all the people who didn't survive the plantation. And he notices that like one of the dolls is missing from the painting, and it's that same doll. So then the doll starts like trying to attack him.
Yep.
And he is chasing him through the house, and he's trying to get away, and he beats the doll with the American flag. Message. So he takes the doll. I'm sorry, I had to because it really was. Message. Okay. So he takes the doll and he like puts him on a target, and he gets his shotgun and he like blasts the doll apart, the head, the body. It's done. It's over with. He's like, whew.
Yep.
Good. He starts like calling everybody niggers and
woo, that was off. Yes, he was going the hell off in that house. Oh my gosh.
He goes to the painting and he hits the old lady in the painting, and it starts to bleed.
Yeah.
And then he hears something outside the door. He goes to investigate, and the doll's like, hey, bitch, I'm still here.
Yep.
We still alive in this bitch. And the dog starts running down the hall. Now, mind you, this is like all stop motion. So the effects don't hold up quite as well, but it's still very entertaining.
Yeah.
So the doll is hawking to the room, and he like runs and like shuts the door, and the doll's like pushing, trying to get in.
Yes, like he's really struggling with his doll on the door.
Have you heard the grunt when he's like,
Yes. I was like, This little dog is going. Like,
Hey, it's the strength of our ancestors.
yes.
So he turns around and all the dolls are missing.
Mm-hmm.
And then he turns back around and they are sitting there like waiting.
Yeah. Ooh.
They whispering.
Ooh, this was scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
And there's nothing he can do. So he literally just grabs the American flag and puts it over his face, and they rip him to shreds. And the old lady comes out of the painting in her rocking chair, and she's holding the first doll that was chasing him while he is getting devoured.
Yep, and the doll had a little blood right there.
Little blood right there.
You know, he got his little nibbles in.
Right? And the crazy part is, I love that, like, apparently what they wanted for like the main doll was like a pickaninny doll.
Yeah.
And the special effects guy, who was a white guy, was like, "Are you sure you want me to do this?"
Right.
And they were like, "Yeah, do it." And he was like, "So I drew them what a pickaninny looks like." And they were like, "Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
And then the original idea for him was they were going to, like, you know, still like devour him.
Yeah.
But the ending shot was going to be him hanging from the American flag in front of the house.
Ooh, that would have been good.
On a tree. But they were like, the MPAA was like, hell no.
Yeah. They was gonna push it. They was pushing it with that.
They were not gonna let them hang a white man in the South with a noose made out of the American flag. It was not gonna happen. So they had to change it.
Yeah. Okay.
So we get back to the funeral home, and
wait. You gotta back it up though. Wait. We gotta back it up. Because remember when right before his campaign manager fell down the stairs, he was telling about the story of the house. And apparently the lady that's in the picture, she was a voodoo priestess.
Yes, I did forget that part. Yes, so she put the spirits in the doll.
In the dolls, yeah, because they had fled to the house. It was something about they heard after the Civil War, they heard that they were freeing slaves. So everybody fled to that house, and the plantation owner fooled them
and killed everybody.
That's what it happened. Yep. So the voodoo priestess
massacre.
Yep.
You're absolutely right. I did skip over that. Yes, it was a whole massacre of all these slaves that were seeking freedom. And that's why the house is haunted. And she put those spirits inside the dolls. And that's why the plantation was not supposed to be disturbed. Because it was their resting place.
Yep. So it was very, very satisfying. Out of all the stories, this one was very satisfying. Yes. I love to see this white man get devoured and basically they ran him crazy because seeing him run through the house talking about I'll kill you all, you little nigglets. Like he was losing his shit. Cause I'm like, why would you be there by yourself? Like it was just so many red flags that it's like, first of all, you in this haunted house. This black man from the 1870s is telling you get out the house. Like your campaign manager dies. This damn freaky ass dog. Someone will tell you to get the hell out of the house.
That, like he was fueled by pure hatred and
racism
that he was going to prove that he belonged there.
And that is so satisfying.
It's funny because a lot of people, and I've seen like Reddits about this because I'm that weird person that would just click on something random.
Yeah. And
so many people would be like, I wish I wouldn't have got married at a plantation. It feels like my marriage was cursed. And it's like,
well, yeah. I can't feel too sorry for you if you got married in a plantation, girl. Like
I'm glad it looked good on Pinterest, but maybe not the best idea.
Right. Let's say it's your fault. It's your own fault. But yeah, we get back to that damn funeral home.
Oh my God. And like they're over it. They like, can you please just tell us where the shit is?
Yep.
And this is when we get the shit.
Yep.
The shit. Yes.
It's almost like he was remembering, like, oh yeah, the shit.
Yeah, like he really played like a senile old man. And he's just like, oh yeah,
the shit. He like remember like the shit.
Right. And they're about to go get the shit, but then like Ball stops and he's like, hey, y'all niggas see this over here?
Yeah, he like, oh shit, y'all ain't gonna believe this. You ain't gonna believe this.
And it's another dude in the casket. He got his flag on, right? He got the chain. And Sims is like, oh, did you know him? Mm-hmm. And one of them was like, yeah, we knew him. They was like, no, he just a nigga we knew around the way.
Right. Okay.
They all looking like this.
Mm-hmm. Suspicious as hell.
So then he starts telling the story about Crazy K, and this one is hardcore convert.
Mm.
And all I'm gonna say is R.I.P. Lamont Bentley. I feel like this man should have done more shit like this because he was Crazy K.
Yeah, this was another one that has some layers.
He was a far away from Moesha.
Yeah.
I tell you that.
Yeah, this one has some layers to it because I feel like Jerome, Crazy K, they showed him as the epitome of every gangbanger, drug dealer. Like he was America's worst nightmare. Not even America's worst nightmare. Black people's worst nightmare.
Yes, the layers of the black on black violence in this one. So much to unpack, and he just didn't give a fuck. Like, if there was I don't give a fuck characters, it's Old Dog and it's Crazy K.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing redeemable. Nothing redeemable. Just did not give a fuck.
From beginning to end. And yeah. He's driving down the street, Crazy K. You know, he driving, listen to that creepy ass
in the low.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like he riding through the streets of what I assume is LA.
Right.
Riding through the streets, you know, his face that I couldn't get over
sideburns.
The fucking K in his head. Like
now, it is weird to watch because it's Hakeem.
Yes. To see Hakeem, like Hakeem,
another beautiful chocolate man who I crushed on.
Like, what are you doing?
What are you doing here? Like, you're supposed to go to college. Like, what is this?
Exactly.
This would be Hakeem if like he didn't live next door to the Mitchells. In my mind.
And he went down the wrong path.
Because his mom was always at the Magic Johnson Theater.
Yep. So yeah, Crazy K riding down the street. He sees somebody that clearly owes him money or something.
No, it was rival gang. Rival gang.
It was a rival gang. That's what it was. Yep. So it was a rival gang. And you know, he did what most men back then did. Pulled up on this fool. He gets to badgering him, pulls him out the car, shoots him. People come out the house. We don't see who these people are, but these people come out the house. The police seem to fly up quick as hell.
And it's Ricky Harris. He kills Ricky Harris.
Basically. Yep.
Like I did not know for like the longest time that was Ricky Harris, probably like 3 or 4 years ago.
Oh yeah, me too. Cause I was like, he looked familiar until I started like doing a little bit of research, and I'm like,
well, I paused it.
Yeah.
Because the shot of him getting like killed is so quick. Like he gets hit and hits the ground.
Yeah.
So you don't see him too much. But if you pause it, it's him.
Yep. So yeah, the police pull up. The other people that's in the house pull up. They come outside. A back and forth. You know, they have a shootout right then and there. Crazy K gets shot. He gets arrested. He still is like, I don't give a fuck. As he's bleeding, as the police is handcuffing him. So he's like, I don't give a fuck. We fast forward 4 years later, and Crazy K is at this facility. It looks like the house on Haunted Hill.
Well,
I'm not gonna lie.
Prison for 4
he's in prison. Yep, right? He's in prison.
And he gets found by the doctor who's doing like, radical experiments or rehabilitation. Very Clockwork Orange. What bothers me, how is the case still so fresh in his head if he's been there 4 years?
Exactly.
Somebody tell me, please, in the comments. Tell me that, like, I've never been to jail. Did he like make a shank and keep the K crispy? Like, I just need to know.
Exactly. I was like, what? Like, I needed answers on that. But the another creepy, not even creepy, but I can't explain it. Him being not cellmates, but he's right next to that white man.
Yes, when they take him to the facility, he's next to a neo-Nazi.
Yes.
Aryan Brotherhood.
Yes. That conversation with them.
And his whole body is like covered in like that like Nazi shit.
He was very proud of it.
Very.
Very proud of it. very in Crazy K's face about it.
And talking about a biblical race war and the purity of white blood.
Oh, I'm telling you, message, because that shit, people be talking about that shit on Reddit. There's probably a chain on Reddit right now about.
We are from Ohio. We've been around some of those people. Unfortunately, we live in a red state, so they're really out there, y'all.
Yeah, they really believe this shit,
especially when Trump. Like there are people out there in my neighborhood right now that got the most faded ass Trump flags.
Yeah, they're never gonna let it go.
Yeah, never,
ever.
Like, these people really exist.
Yeah. So yeah, he's talking about this war. Everything's gonna be right with the world, and he's like, "Yeah, you see these tattoos? You know what this mean?" And Crazy K is not trying to engage with this man, but he ends up engaging with him because the man asks him, "Let me tell you something. You want to be on our team? Because what was the color of those people you killed?"
Yeah, he punches him in the face first.
Yeah, and he was like, "What you?" He's like, "What you in for? Murder, punk." And I wouldn't mind doing that shit again. And that's when it's like, all right, Crazy K, you gonna fuck around. This man is really like real.
When he punches him in the face and he starts laughing, I was like, "Oh, this man's out to lunch," and he was just like, "That's okay." And he asked him, like, "Well, those people you killed, what they look like?
What color were they?"
He's like, "You're doing my work for me.
You doing my work for me." Message.
I wish I had Sean here. I'd put him in front of the camera. Message.
For real. Like, whoo, that was rough. And what did Crazy K say to that? Nothing.
He didn't have shit to say.
Yeah. Yep. What could he say? After that, he gets transferred. He gets out of his cell. He meets the doctor. They're transferring him. He's shackled up and shit. And
it's creepy because he's shackled and dressed like a slave would have been dressed.
Literally. They going through this creepy ass building. You see some type of thing go by. It looks like bodies is hanging from it.
Yeah. And she tells him, like, you can do this program and be rehabilitated, or you can rot in prison. It makes me know never mind either way.
Yep. This is your last chance.
That's it.
For real. Like, this is your last chance. So they get him, shave off his K in the back of his head. They strapping him down, putting all type of shit up his nose.
That tube up his nose makes me cringe, bro.
Yeah. Which, when you watch it, here's how you know I don't watch this movie so damn many times. They're not even moving it.
No, they're not. You can totally see it.
You can totally see it. They're not even moving it. Like, they're not moving it. Of course, you gotta
doing all the that makes you think it's happening.
Yeah. Like, they put him in this contraption that looks
put a gag in his mouth.
Yes, like,
and it's pumping this green fluid into his throat.
Yeah, so he ain't signed no waiver or nothing. He just in it, whatever. And they strap him down in this contraption that looks like an execution type of thing. Like, they lower him. He's strapped in, and then they're like, "Yeah, we're gonna put the thing over his eyes," and they have him watch some of the most horrifying images I have ever seen in my life.
Yes, and the song playing is Spice One, Born to Die. And I only know this because my brother Kenny was a huge Spice One fan, so I know this song very well, and it is very disturbing.
Very.
It's a banger song.
Yeah. Terrifying.
And the images of gang banging next to actual, like, real historical
lynchings
and murderings.
Yes. The fucked up part was the one where the kid was like smiling.
Yeah, because back then that was like, well, that is where picnics come from.
Yep.
They would take their families out, and it was picnics. That's where
it was really a whole family event.
Yes.
And they had so much fun. Like, just seeing the smiles on these kids' faces as they're looking, and the guy is hanging, he's burnt. It's just
And this isn't like a short thing. This is like 2-3 minutes long, y'all.
Yes.
Of you seeing like these
Yes.
flashes.
Yes. It was
with this
very
song
disturbing.
playing in the background that I'm
Yep.
sure people like really like bop to, but in this context,
Man,
the song over the images will fuck you up.
yeah, it was very disturbing. Very disturbing.
Like they literally spliced in like dudes putting on ski masks with the shotties over the KKK in their hood. Like, it's just, it blows your mind.
Yep. That is where I literally wanted to give a standing ovation to the whole team behind this, because this scene, the whole sequence, even after what came after it, was very, like, if you remember this story, you gonna remember that montage. It's hard. It's even hard to watch, even as an adult. Like, it's my least favorite part. I don't like to see those kind of images because it's hard to watch. I could watch a lot of horror stuff, but seeing lynchings, paired up with gangbangers, and it's hard.
It makes it more disturbing and more prevalent when you realize that right now in 2023, okay, they are proposing a bill in Tennessee to bring back lynching.
Yeah.
As a form of the death penalty.
Crazy.
And we know who's incarcerated in Tennessee.
Yeah. Who's going to be incarcerated in Tennessee.
Oh, yeah. It's disturbing on many levels. I mean, I get the role that it played in the movie, and I understand that sometimes art is disturbing.
Mm-hmm. It's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable.
It is.
Basically, it's supposed to make you think. It's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. And I can only imagine being in movie theaters while this is going on. You are like,
And this is like 95, which I'm not saying that like banging don't still exist, but this is like the height of banging.
Absolutely.
Where like the
conversations, bangers. Yeah.
The conversations
around bangers in the fucking theater.
Yeah, the conversations around black on black crime was really tied to gang relations.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. So we get through that very disturbing montage song,
and the doctor's like, "What's wrong? You don't like seeing black people get murdered, but isn't that what you do? Murder black people?
Your whole life. That's all he did."
Yes.
And whoo, it was rough. He didn't seem too shaken up about it. He was just, I think it was just the whole spinning and all that. A lot of it played on sensory, so he gets in a chair.
But that's the thing. And I'm going to have to challenge you on that. I think he was disturbed by it because he was disturbed by the Nazi talking shit to him in the cell. So I think he was disturbed by it. And I feel like sometimes black people have this duality where we can do shit to our own, but a white person could never.
You got a point there.
Like we can be the oppressor of our own people.
Right.
And we're black women. We know
nothing
that.
Wrong. Yeah, it's nothing wrong when we do it.
Yeah, but don't you white person dare oppress me.
Yep.
Well, I think it did disturb him.
Yeah, only reason why I don't think it disturbed him, just as in what follows after in the sensory deprivation chamber, which also looks very scary. It's the dark. Look, literally, you are deprived of your senses, everything.
I have always wanted to do one of those floaty tank sensory deprivations, but I'm too afraid. I'm too afraid of what my mind would uncover.
I am so afraid of where my mind is going to take.
Like I can't even sleep in the dark. I have to have the TV on.
Me too.
I have to have something in the background because my own thoughts will keep me up at night. So I can't imagine not being able to hear or anything.
Yeah, nothing. So he is strapped to a chair
and lowered
into a cell he's just lowered into something he cannot see.
No, he can't.
Cannot see. So boom, boom, boom. We start to see some lights flashing on and off, which kind of fucked my head up a little bit.
This movie, this segment in particular is very strobe light heavy. It gets very flashy during the montage, and this is very like strobe light during the sensory deprivation, which is a part of sensory deprivation. I guess therapy for some people is the flashing lights. I don't know how, but if you have any type of like sensory issues, skip over this segment. Just read about it
because it is a little it's a little hard to take
Yeah.
once characters start showing up.
And
So,
don't watch it while you're tired either, because it fucked me while I was sleepy.
Yeah, and don't watch it at like in a dark room either, because that also kind of like
it'll fuck with you.
Fuck with your eyes.
If you got bad eyes,
yeah,
just be careful.
Yeah. So
turn the brightness on your TV down. That's all.
Yeah. With me, I like I said, I'll be asleep by that time, so don't even know what's going on, girl. But if I watch it in the daytime, it's daytime, so it's it don't fuck with me too much. But we see lights flash and everything. People start to appear in front of Crazy K
with like their heads shot off and shit.
Yeah. And the main reason they want to know is why.
That shit was wrong, man.
Yeah. I was like, after a few people start showing up, I'm like, damn, Crazy K, how many people you killed? He had a whole group. Like, he had a whole damn near like
the first guy pops up and he's like, would you? He's like, oh, we ain't spoken a long time. That's right, because you killed my ass.
Right.
And he opens up his jacket and he got the bullet hole and he's like, you was coming up short. I couldn't let you just rip me off.
Yeah. And we see that, and that's why I feel like maybe the segment of the disturbing images didn't fuck with him too much, because he still had a reason.
And then like the 3 more people show up and they're like, you just came down the block and started spraying.
That's it.
And he was like, that shit was wrong, man.
He was like, we ain't even the ones that killed your homies.
Yeah, he's like, we was just playing ball. That shit was wrong, B.
Yep. So more people start showing up, and Crazy K still is not even.
And then we get that little girl, and she's like, I was just playing in my room.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking. I almost come to tears every single time on that part when that little girl comes and she's like, I was just playing in my room.
Yeah, she's like, what did I do? I was just playing in my room. And he says, I'm sorry, little girl. And then he says, but a bullet ain't got no name on it. It's like, you were almost there.
Yep. He almost was like it was
there.
Almost, but he was like, a bullet ain't got no name on it.
Yeah.
You was at the wrong place at the wrong time. How was her room the wrong place at the wrong time? It was you, nigga. You was at the wrong.
Like 40 people show up behind them.
A whole group.
You don't even talk to them. They just there.
It's you can hear background noise. It's a whole bunch of noise.
Like filling up with people. And the doctor shows up.
Yep. Like, are they saying something you don't want to hear?
Mm-hmm.
And she gives a very powerful speech too. She gives a whole speech too. And if I had to think of a backstory for Crazy K has some we know he had a fucked up life. But when he says, what about my nightmares?
And this is why I feel like this movie is so brilliant, because if you draw a distinct line between Boys Get Bruised to Crazy K, it is the most straightest line ever, because that is how that happens to people.
Yep. Literally.
I can tell you from experience, the path that I walk now is much different than the path that I walked back then, due to just being loved by certain people in my life who wouldn't give up on me.
Right.
Because that type of violence just births that type of violence.
It multiplies. And in Crazy K, I feel like that is how, he knew what he was doing was wrong, and it was fucking him up. But in order to get over it, he would just kill somebody else, and the cycle would just continue.
Nobody cares about me. I don't care about me, so I don't care about you either.
Yep. So Crazy K is just, he's and he was almost there too at that point. Almost there. And then he breaks out of the chains. He breaks out. He grabs the
well, no, he says, let me out of here. And she's like, nothing's holding you there.
Oh, yeah. So he's like, boom. And he had a chance. To try to get it right, but he grabs the girl.
The assistant.
You know what I'm saying? The assistant. And she's just still talking to him like, Jerome, you ain't gonna get another chance.
Yeah, this is it.
This is it.
Change your life today.
Today, right now. And what does he say? I don't give a fuck.
I don't give a fuck.
And we see that he's in there. He's in this I keep want to say sleep deprivation, but he's in this deprivation chamber by himself,
holding
saying
on to nothing.
nothing. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. And we see that is everything we've seen is a dream.
In his
because
head.
Crazy K is laying on the pavement
saying, I don't give a fuck.
Saying, I don't give a fuck. I don't
Bleeding.
give a fuck. Yep. And they said, and these mysterious figures above him, these mysterious figures above him, we don't give a fuck either, nigga. Like, blast his ass to oblivion.
Yes. And that's how it ends. And you know what? It's always funny to me, especially now looking back on it as an adult. Clearly, the way the doctor was dressed, the way she carried herself, and the way things unfolded, that was God trying to give him a chance. Because she's in all white the whole time.
Absolutely.
And if we go based off of like our culture as Black people and how Jesus has been interpreted to us, Jesus had, you know, skin of bronze, hair of wool, and she had dreads, right? So in my mind, how way I interpret it is that was God, which I've always said that we said God's a vengeful God, right? If you believe in God, that God only helps those that help themselves, shorty. Like
that could have been a divine intervention,
right?
From God. That could have been his moment where God could have intervened, but he did not deserve another chance. Like he just didn't.
Because you know, if we're going off of Christianity, right? When you are dying and you are going to that place, you're supposed to repent, and he did not repent.
Nope. He did the opposite.
That's how I always took it. Is that was his moment of repenting, and he didn't take it.
Yep. So we see that is how Crazy K met his demise. And at this point, Stack, Bulldog, and Ball, they are like, we have had enough. That last motherfucking story just wasn't funny.
That wasn't fun. And they pulled the gas out. All right, old man, that shit's not funny.
Yeah.
And and my boy says, because you know we the ones that smoked his ass.
Yep. Because he so it's like, now and that's when they're revealed.
Back then, you could not see their faces or their silhouettes. You just saw three people. Now with digitally enhanced 4K, when you watch it now, you can see them clearly. You can see them when they walk out the house. You can see them sitting over him.
But shirt, then, all of that. Yep. You see, I've been watching.
Yeah, because back then when the movie came out, like the actual like VHS and shit, you could not see them.
Yep.
Whatsoever.
Yep. So now they fed up. Like you gonna tell that we did the shit. Yep. Yeah, so and you know, was that the point where they hit him with the gun?
Yes.
Yeah. So they hit him with the gun. And he's like, oh, you know, this crazy old man.
He was like, whoa,
shit. I was scared. That was another moment. I was like, I am scared of this old man. Y'all better get out of the house.
I just noticed this like the last couple times I watched it. And I only noticed it. Shout out to James A. Janice from Dead Meat, because I love his kill counts. And he kept saying the shit, the doo-doo, the pippity pop, but I wasn't catching on that he actually says that shit in the movie.
Yeah.
He goes, the doo-doo, the pippity pop.
Yep. Oh my gosh, it's such a, and you know, I'm just like, at this point watching the movie, I'm just like, whoo, all right now.
You've already been on the ride, so you know, like this is it. Like it's going crazy for me.
They are going, he leads them down these stairs. Literally, it looks like he's leading them to hell. I'm just gonna like a crypt.
I don't understand, because I'm an observant nigga, is why they didn't see this man. He didn't turn on not nan light, but he was doing this and the lights was popping on. Literally a string. He didn't hit a switch. He was just going.
Yep. And they just lighten up. And the room that they are in looks like Tales from the Crypt. Like it looks like it looks very scary. Like why would the shit?
Now, as a Black person, come on.
We supposed to be observant. We supposed to be observant.
Come on now. Give me an amen, church. You know we not following people if shit don't feel right. It's bad enough you're in a funeral home, but now we're following you after I'd have attacked you and you don't seem fazed by this. That means you got something for my ass downstairs.
Man, he leads them, and they just go so blindly, and I'm just like
deep in the back in the basement,
deep in it. I'm like, all right, now y'all already strike one is y'all in a funeral home. Nothing good can come of a basement of a goddamn
strike
funeral
one.
home.
I'm in a funeral home. Strike two. I'm listening to stories about dead bodies in this funeral home.
Mm-hmm.
Strike three. I'm following an old man in a basement that hasn't touched a light switch.
Who knows? I killed the last nigga he just told a story about. So we get to the, and I mean, the suspense is up there. My heart is pounding.
I have watched this movie at least over 100 times, and it's still, the tension is still there when you see
My heart is
him
pounding.
lead them into that back room.
Yep. And then guess what's in that back room?
There's 3 caskets.
Three coffins. Yep. He's like, okay, the shit is in the coffins. These niggas still ain't released. Y'all still, it's 3 of y'all, and it's 3 caskets. Like, y'all not seeing this. Boom. Open up the caskets.
And that's my favorite part. It's about fucking time.
Yep. It's about fucking time.
And they open that shit.
Yeah. What you do, Bulldog?
One by one. Oh shit! No,
I ain't seen
no.
this. I hear this. I ain't seen this.
What the?
What should we do, Bulldog? He like, let's blast him.
So they start trying to shoot this nigga, and like the guns turn red and fall out their hands.
Oh, burning them. Yep.
And they're like, "What is this?" And here we go. This ain't no funeral home. This ain't the Terradome. Welcome to hell.
And they like, and that when he turned, I will go on record saying this now. For 10 good years after this movie was released, I could not, when he turned into the devil, I could not watch it. I would turn it off.
Really?
Yes. I did that well into my like teenage years. I would not watch him.
It's the way he drags that motherfucker.
He's sweating. His eyes bugged out.
Sweaty. Like he gets sweatier throughout the movie. That man is perspiring with each story. Them curls around the edges was juicy.
Okay. And I mean dripping sweat.
And like the CGI like snake tongue comes out.
Yep. And that's when I used to be like, all right, boop, I'm done going to bed.
That's the best part of the movie. And he just like turns into the devil.
Ooh. And
the walls break away. And it's just flames.
Yep.
And the best part is that fucking score. That music, whoever produced that score, some of the
chef's kiss. Woo! Suspense. I mean, my heart was pounding. So even now as an adult, when I watch that part, I'm still like on the edge of my seat, like,
and they're like cooking. They're just like shaking.
And you see like the people in the back. Oh. He's just having a good time. The devil is just having a good time.
And then you realize all the people that he's told these stories about are in hell too. That's why their bodies is there.
Yes. And we skipped over this, but we did. He told them like, yeah, well, it seems as though, after y'all killed Crazy K, a couple of his homeboys came back and killed y'all. And I'm afraid y'all didn't make it.
Boy.
So that means they was dead when they pulled up to
because when
everything
when you go to Crazy K's segment, right? The 3 people that shot him get gunned down by the police. Mm-hmm. So you think, okay, well, this didn't really happen. Mm-hmm. So these people are still alive.
Yep. So yeah.
But the fact that everyone that he told stories about were these deplorable people means that their bodies got sent to hell too.
Yep. He knows them personally. He knows all of them personally.
They pulled up to hell.
Yep. Ooh. And Stack, Bulldog, and Ball, they back there.
Shaking like fucking ass on Saturday night.
Man, they was crispy. And boom, that is how the movie ends. And it's like, welcome to, and then that's when the credits come and it's like, welcome to our mortuary, all that. And I'm just like, this movie is so good. Like, it's just so good. Oh, it's such a wild ride, but it's such a
It
fun.
is like your first time watching it. It is like,
yeah. Each story was short enough to where it wasn't heavy.
Yeah.
Because each story had a heavy undertone to it.
Yeah, it definitely was heavy, but it was also parts that you could have fun with while still relaying the message.
Yep.
But by far the best wraparound in an anthology.
Yeah.
The best wraparound.
Best ending. I love that ending. Like,
those wraparound, like, I mean, I'm an anthology person. Like, I love Creep Show 1 and 2. I love my Tales from the Crypt. I love Tales of Halloween. I love All Hallows Eve. Like, I love anthologies. I still haven't found a wraparound story that captivates me like Welcome to My Mortuary. It just doesn't.
Nope.
And that all has to do with Clarence Williams III. Period.
That man, like, listen, that man did his thing as Mr. Sims. I wish I really could have met that man. Like,
you know what? It makes me so sad that he retired. Because they asked him to come out of retirement for Tales from the Hood too, and he turned them down. And they were willing to pay him whatever he wanted. And he was like, "Look, I'm old. I'm not doing this anymore."
Yep.
And I love Keith David. I think he did a great job as a variation of Mr. Sims.
Yeah,
Mr. Sims, like there's no touching.
There's only one. There's only one Mr. Sims that could really get us. Because Keith David, he wasn't scary to me.
Keith David is always scary to me. Look,
he wasn't scary to me in Tales from the Hood too.
I have been a fan of Keith David for a very long time. I have loved Keith David from They Live to The Thing. Like, he's a horror movie icon. I love him as Dr. Facilier in Princess and the Frog.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I love the nigga in ATL as the villain.
That nigga has a very long list too on his resume. And it's all good roles. Right. He's even a villain. He plays a good villain.
Like I said, he's a great villain. He's a horror Clifton Powell to me. So I love Keith David, and I thought he did a good job.
He did.
It's just compared to Mr. Sims.
Yeah, he didn't scare me because Mr. Sims had that eccentric kind of thing going on too. He had the creepy
kind of guy.
He had the creepy eyes,
Like, yeah, he's the kind of old man that scared you at church as a kid.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Or that guy outside your corner store that probably wouldn't hurt you, but on the right day,
he might snap. He might snap. Like, I don't know. But yeah, Keith David did a great job too. I like his Welcome to Hell too. His Welcome to Hell wasn't scary. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't terrifying.
I promise you, I feel like Keith David purely got hired because of his ability to say the shit, because he said that shit perfectly.
He said the shit so perfectly.
So,
oh yes, the shit.
Yeah.
I love it. I fucking love it. And the fact that they got Tony Todd to do part 3, it's like, all right.
To say about no Tony Todd, baby.
Tony Todd is a living legend. I want to meet him one day.
That's one of the coolest motherfucking cats on the planet. He drinks Thai iced tea. He be minding his business and moisturizing his skin. Okay, that is Black royalty.
Yep, we got to protect him at all costs.
At all costs. I will have a full-on funeral service for Candyman when he passes away.
Yeah, for sure.
I will be releasing bees. Like, I'm gonna have the whole thing because that man is royalty. Like I said, him and Keith David and Keenan's dad from Keenan and Kel.
Yes,
Black horror royalty.
Black horror royalty. Can't say nothing bad about none of those men, none of those movies.
Tales from the Hood holds a special place in my heart because it was the first horror movie that I got to see as a Black person, about Black people, about Black things, about growing up in a not so great neighborhood like I did, dealing with the domestic violence that I dealt with my dad, like dealing with so many of these things that I experienced as a child all the way up into being an adult. Like, I have friends that I've lost that were doing criminal activity that I've lost on the way to jail or through death. I have a situation with my dad. You know what I'm saying? I've dealt with overly racist people. We've had a racist president. Like, there's so many things about this movie that the movie was not well received because it was way ahead of its time.
It was. It was. It definitely was. Reading the reviews about this movie
Oh
was
yeah.
wild to me because, we already know that mainstream is not generally for us.
No.
Because this is at a time where the white movies, they're making 100 million plus. Back in the 90s, that was a big deal.
After killing the black person first.
After always
Or
killing the black person
or
first,
the spiritual sacrificial Negro.
Of course. Of
So there
course.
wasn't a lot of room for black people in horror.
Oh no, not black. Not in the fact that the production, like everything about this movie was blackety black, black, black. The writer, the
This was
director,
definitely
the production company.
this movie is definitely a time capsule
Absolutely.
of that black renaissance in Hollywood. That's when we had your Living Singles and your
Mhm.
Martins, and
Mhm.
UPN had just started up. So
Yep.
like kind of like how now we've had a resurgence of all black everything.
Yep.
We were the first people to experience all black everything on your TV.
Yep. Yep.
When
So,
black
yeah.
when black was that was when black was marketable in the 90s.
Yeah. And it was being profitable because, like you said, they recovered their budget
Mhm.
of 6 million,
Yeah.
which was unheard of back just for black films. And they not only they damn near doubled their budget. So
And then
that was a success for them.
and that was definitely a time where everything was from the hood.
Yep.
Like you tack the hood on it, and that was what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like middle America was obsessed with the violence in the hood. Rap music was becoming a really big thing with your Biggie and your Tupac. It was right before they died. Like everybody was obsessed with the black experience in the hood.
Yeah. So this movie was ahead of its time. I like 10 out of 10. Everything. Across the board, 10. 10 years from now, it's still gonna be a 10. 20 years from now, still gonna be a 10. Like I have nothing bad to say about this film ever.
And it's crazy that it's like it's our generation that's like here's this movie. And like I said, now like all the popular like white YouTubers are picking up on Tales from the Hood. Like I'm seeing it pop up so much in my feed now, and I'm like, and it's weird. I have a bittersweet experience with it, seeing like white males commentate on this movie that is so near and dear to my heart with an experience they'll never understand.
Yeah.
But then I appreciate that they're giving it the praise that it deserves.
Yeah.
And calling attention to like this is something you need to see.
Yeah. Because in every kind of whatever lane you in, when a white person says it, then it's like, oh yeah,
it's legitimized.
Yeah, like okay, it's legit. Like let's check it out. Black people, we've been talking about it for
decades.
Literally decades. So
there's
it's
not
like
one black person I've ever met that has never seen this movie. Like every black person I've met has seen this movie.
Right. Or I've never met a black person that didn't like this movie. Because I will go tooth and nail for anybody who does not like this movie. I will go tooth and nail.
I hate the fact that they had all these plans to make sequels that fell apart because of the reviews and the way that it was received by critics.
Yep. Critics had a big deal in why we got the second one so late, later.
This is before being able to pick up a camera, and this is before the internet.
Yep.
So you couldn't just pick up a camera and say your thoughts. Like you had to be like a legitimate student of film and have went to college and had all these things before you could actually like critique anything.
Yeah.
So of course you're talking about your upper crust 1%ers whose mommy and daddies paid for college and who have never had to experience it. I just didn't get it.
Yep.
Like, it's not for you.
Yeah. Some of those same critics, they had not so good things to say about Friday. That was also released in 1995. Like how y'all say Smokey ain't, y'all said Chris Tucker ain't funny. I read a review where they literally said that Chris Tucker was cringy, he's not funny, and it's just bad. Like
I wish somebody would tell me Chris Tucker was not funny back then, because they can go.
So that's why I'm like, for the culture, the critics back in the day was not for the culture at all. You had to be like, if it made them uncomfortable, they usually did not like it. And when it didn't make them uncomfortable, it usually came at the expense of like black women, because I read a lot of reviews about people praising Waiting to Exhale, and we know that's a good movie, but every damn woman went through some type of trauma in that movie. Like,
I'm that one person that hates Waiting to Exhale.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. It's not.
I hate
don't
Waiting
like
to Exhale, and I hate Love and Basketball, and I have had.
I don't like that Waiting to Exhale is like it's regarded as this movie like a rite of passage when in all actuality none of these women. I don't like movies about black women struggling. The black woman struggle. You know, I didn't like to see that.
Well,
and
people think
that's
For
what
Colored Girls is a fucking masterpiece, and I'm like, I don't need
I
to see
won't.
an hour and a half of black drama.
I won't watch that movie ever again in my life.
I only seen it once. I don't need to see it ever again.
Once was enough, and
That
I was like,
movie
no.
made me hate Michael Ealy. I will never watch anything else he's in ever again because of that movie.
Him and the light-skinned Darnell too.
Yes,
he was in that movie too. Basically every man in that movie was trash, and I'm just like, I gotta protect my peace. So yeah.
I mean, and that's funny that you talk about that because we can sit here and we can say like showing black women's trauma is a horrible thing, but and I hate to be this person, I guess because I grew up around all guys and I'm a real feminist. I believe in real equality.
Mm-hmm.
Those movies literally depict black men as just like the most vile beast on this planet, and black men are amazing.
Yep. I don't. Yeah.
Black men are great workers. Black men are great fathers and providers and love black women. Like this. Yeah. Like I understand the majority and the narrative of what we see is that they don't, but like they're really out there, and the things that we grew up with, like and have digested as black women, especially. Mm-hmm. I see why so many black women hate black men internally. Yeah. Because when you grow up with your Waiting to Exhales and your For Colored Girls.
The 90s was all about men versus women, black men versus women.
And it's now it's the same thing. It's just on your computer screen and your phone.
Pretty much. So it's like I don't praise movies like that because it doesn't do us any justice.
I think that is the brilliance of Tales from the Hood because it is displaying black trauma in a horrific way, the way it's supposed to be seen. These are supposed to be horrific and triggering things that we as black people have gone through for many, many years and experienced. This is not supposed to be glorified. It is a living nightmare.
Yep. Absolutely. And that's why it's a classic. It will never get old. No. And it's in its own lane by itself. Like the actors are in its own lane, you know.
For me, it's up there with my class. Like it's really up there, politically and poetically with like The Shining and A Clockwork Orange. Like it's up there with the messages that it displays and the just true brutality of living everyday life as a black person.
Yep. Whether you were man, whether you were woman.
One thing I wish we would have got more is more of the black female perspective, but I understand that these are black men writing a movie, so they're only going to tell it from their perspective.
Of course. You know,
I would love one day for us to get a black woman's horror movie, which we're getting with The Blackening. I cannot wait.
I'm gonna hold my thoughts about that movie. I want to see it first.
See, the reason why because I saw the original skit.
The skit was amazing. Amazing.
And the last time that something like that got turned into the movie, which was Lights Out.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Because Lights Out was like a 2-minute short on YouTube. And I love that movie.
Yep.
And I feel like this is going to be the same thing. Like, I know maybe the name isn't best.
No. I like the name. I just there's a part in the trailer where she's like, why black women gotta be the ones to save everybody all the damn time? And I'm just like, yes, like don't let us be the ones that have to save everybody.
Look,
like
I was sold when I saw Yvonne Orji. I was like, ooh, really?
Yeah.
Molly's in this? I'm going to see it.
Yep.
Rip. I'm going to see it.
Going to see it. Yes, ma'am. I'm excited. It's on my list. I'm adding it to my list of June movies that I will go see. And it's Juneteenth weekend, the blackest weekend of the in June.
Girl, and I'm black,
right? I'm going to see that movie twice. Like you want to go see it? We going to go see it.
Yeah, I think that might be the day that I braid my hair with kente cloth. I think that I might have to because I've been wanting to do that style for a while, but I was gonna do it for Black History Month, but I just didn't. It didn't come together. So I think the blackening might be the weekend that I come out with the kente cloth braids.
Hey, that's it. I love it. All right. Any closing thoughts? The day is coming. Thursday, the big day is coming for Scream 6.
Okay, closing thoughts. I feel like if you haven't seen Tales from the Hood, don't even like the spoil. Like even though we've spoiled like a 30-year-old movie,
yeah, still watch it.
It's not spoiling it because you're gonna enjoy it. Whether you get a really deep, profound message about yourself and what you grew up in, or you're a person that is not a person of color and you get an introspection of what life was like in the 90s for Black people, or if you just want to watch a horror movie that breaks all barriers of what you have thought horror was and just pure realism.
Yep.
It's a great time. It's a great watch. I will never not sing its praises. And as far as Scream 6 go, nigga, we made it. Like, bro, this has been the longest month. Like,
yes. So yeah, we are going to see Scream 6 Thursday evening. Are we going to do a spoiler-free kind of like out the theater reaction?
I really think we need to do spoiler-free reaction, like I said, and then the next video after that is our spoiler review, because I like giving people time to watch the movie. And
absolutely.
You know, I like spoilers. Not everybody else likes spoilers, and this is for the audience, not for you know what I mean. So I rather give people time. And then they can,
after we see it, then I want to see all the spoilers. I'm gonna follow. I follow a few bigger creators, and I'm like, all right, I want to see what they thought about it because I know how I feel about it. So
yes, I will literally be watching. We watched the movie because Mike and Jay are my homies. I love them. So they give the best spoiler reviews.
Yes.
So I will be watching that myself to see what other people think, but I want to go into this with a clear mind because 5 got really spoiled for me. And I feel like I've literally avoided everything these past couple weeks. Like I've been ducking. Like I've been off the pages. I haven't been clicking on any videos.
Yeah, me too.
I want to be blown away. So
expectations up high?
No, they're not high. They are from where we left off at 5. That's where I'm leaving it.
Okay.
Like, I didn't hate it. I might not love it, but I might not hate it either.
Right. Okay.
As long as they get, I mean, this is Ghostface in New York. They gotta bring it, or they could have left that shit on the cutting room floor. That's how I feel about it. If you're taking him out of Woodsboro, and putting him in New York, because New York is where horror characters go to die. So this is make or break, and I feel like based off of what we did in 5, I have hope they can pull it off. I do.
I hope so too.
They make some smart
expectations. My expectations are high. I'm not even gonna lie to you. My expectations are high. I have my own theories. I have my own predictions.
Yes.
So we will save that for the spoiler filled.
No, I mean, we can go ahead and do predictions now. I mean, it's like I wanted to be somebody related to the Mockers. Don't know if we're gonna get that.
Yeah, I think Gail. I don't think Gail is gonna make it out of this one. I think I've said that before already.
Yes, you have.
I don't think she's gonna make it out of this one.
I'm looking for her to be killed, end up like Laurie Strode in 2018 in the hospital on a cliffhanger, or kidnapped.
Yeah.
Right. Because they said that 6 is tied into 7. If I had to put a finger on it, I'm thinking that Kirby is a red herring or a helper. Just based off of her connection to Ghostface and her connection to the police force, because who else would have access to all that shit in the shrine? So that's I'm giving it that, and I'm looking at Sam Carpenter losing her noodles by the end of 7. I think so too. I think we're going to see a Ghostface. I think we're seeing the origins of a Ghostface in real time.
Yeah. I want to be. I really want to be caught left field by whoever the killer is. Like, I don't want to be right in my predictions, but it's
they better give me better than Richie and Amber.
Yeah.
I think across the board, like all the fans are like, you got to give us better than Richie and Amber.
Yeah, because it just wasn't. It just like I was surprised, but then it's like I had more questions after that. Because it started becoming like very clear, but I had more questions than I had answers, and that's where you don't want to leave me as a viewer. I shouldn't have more questions than I have answers. You made me do too much work. Like I don't want to do all this work.
The moment I saw that Amber had a hard on for Sam, I knew she was Ghostface.
Yeah. And I still hate that. I still hate that. I just don't like that girl. Like I just
and
don't
the
like
moment
that
that
girl.
Dewey called out the boyfriend, I was like, oh, like you said,
I
the
mean, yeah, they
voice
said it. Like
you knew.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I feel like if they don't give us better killers, because that's been the number one complaint is the hallucinations, right? And the killers.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't give us better killers, I think people are going to abandon part 7. I think we're going to be done with it.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm excited either way, though.
I'm excited. I got my Ghostface shirt already.
All right, I'm excited.
I'm excited.
I finally got the USB drive, so I have the other episodes. I'll include this one. I'll have it for you on Thursday on the flash drive, so you can do your thing with it. Because like I said, my Google Gmail is not letting me send it. It's saying too much.
I'm gonna have a long weekend ahead of me.
Yep. So yeah, that is it, guys. We are clocking out at an hour and 50 minutes.
Yes.
Great. I'm surprised it wasn't 2 hours because we can go.
We're definitely coming back Thursday night. It's gonna be on the later side because we're coming from the movies.
Yep. So probably like close to like 11ish.
Yeah. So you can definitely catch us on our page on Facebook to rewatch or watch for the first time our live streams.
Yep.
And then we are taking a little break.
Yes, we need a break. We've been going hard. We've been going hard for like what 8-9 weeks now.
Yes. So unfortunately, we are not going to be able to do the St. Patrick's episode. I've got some other obligations that I have to handle, and I want to get our YouTube up and running so that way we can do it there. Because I did find out that you can actually do lives on YouTube. I just found this out.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I really want to get our page up and running so people can, because nobody wants to hold their phone all day. I know I watch YouTube on the TV. So if you guys want to follow us other places and other platforms, you guys should be able to watch us on your TV.
Yes.
While you're cooking, while you're dealing with your kids.
That's gonna be a big deal.
Right. While you greasing your scalp. Like we just want to be there for you.
Right. Baby. That's it. That's easy peasy. So
we just want to give you that female Black horror content that you've been craving.
Yes. So yeah, check back in with us this Thursday evening coming up, and then we will have we're gonna take a week break hiatus, and then we'll be back. Let me look at the date. What date is that gonna be?
We will be back March 20th.
Yes, we'll be back March 20th. So
y'all with our spoiler review. So we're literally giving you a whole week.
Yeah, to go see it
before we spoil it, because we really are. We're dedicated to you guys, and we don't want to ruin it for you.
Yep, because we're gonna come back like you have already seen it. Front, back, we're gonna spoil it for up, down, left, right, all of it. So yes, thank you to everybody who's listening.
Oh, hi, Nazi. My baby
who's listening. And come back and join us on Thursday.
Yes, thanks guys.
Right.
We love you.
Peace out. Take care of yourselves. Bye. Don't have no nightmares. Don't have no nightmares.
Tales from the Hood is on Tubi, by the way.
Is all of them on Tubi?
I think they took 2 and 3 off, but I know the first one is still on there.
Okay.
I checked earlier.
Okay. I'm probably about to go watch it tonight. That's just a comfort movie for me. So I'm about to go watch it. Y'all have a good night. Peace out. All right.